I think then, Kevin, because you've been waiting, do you want to share the news of what's been announced here for the Baltimore Ravens?
Yeah.
And project, please.
Yes. Okay, everybody.
There it is. Louder.
There we go. Just dropped about 20-ish minutes ago. The Ravens and the rest of the AFC North for the first time are going to be featured on Hard Knocks. So the first time an entire division is being featured. I believe it's the final 6 weeks of the season. It will cover the AFC North race coming down. I think it will probably come down to the wire. So you got Ravens, Steelers, Browns, Bengals, all on Hard Knocks on HBO. Ravens are back on Hard Knocks.
Back, baby.
So damn back. Honestly, I'm fired up. Kevin, this is the enthusiasm we need.
Yeah.
I
also
one time,
got
Kevin.
Let's go. Let's go.
One more time, Kevin. Come on, Kevin.
Let's go.
Listen, I did text our friend of the show, Nick Moore, and he did not know the news, so I had to break it to him too. But he said that he is super pumped for this.
Although Nick Moore not knowing news is not the.
It's not.
My favorite conversation ever is we're sitting in the elevator and I go, "Hey, so thoughts on signing Dalvin Cook?" And he goes, "We signed Dalvin Cook?"
Every time.
And then he sits there and it's silent for a second. Then he just goes, "When did the Jets release Dalvin Cook?" And I was like 4 days ago. I was like, that was so old.
That's
news.
incredible. It's such like an either or where like he will not know anything or he will break news on the show.
Yeah.
Like it is either or. You don't know what you're going to
So I ended up having dinner with him on Friday, and he was like, I actually talked to him about the Trevor Lawrence deal. He's like, "Oh, Trevor Lawrence got an extension." I was like, "Yeah, it's only the biggest one in NFL history." He's like, "Oh, he got paid more than Lamar?"
Yeah.
So we had a whole conversation about that and how I went off on the show about it. But just another Nick Moore.
Did he know there were other quarterbacks that also got paid more than Lamar?
He probably hasn't.
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah. But we were basically just kind of talking about the whole, how he really deserve a $275 million contract. And that was basically the leader of that conversation. Nick was my sounding board.
Yeah, I know. Oh, we know. We fired up Brad. We understand with that. Seeing some comments here because we know that not every team wants to do Hard Knocks, and you were bringing up with it. Is this a way of forcing kind of the Ravens? Because the NFL can say it's the entire AFC North now umbrella, forcing them to do it. Probably, honestly, if we're being completely honest, but I'll be honest as a fan, this to me is probably going to be the most interesting to watch. I'll be honest, guys. Unless you were a fan of the Cardinals, or like the Colts, the last couple of years, the mid-season Hard Knock or the followings Hard Knocks, whatever you want to consider it, wasn't really eye-grabbing to me. I'll be honest. I didn't feel the urge to watch this because the AFC North is so competitive. These teams are tough. They have great personalities. They have fantastic players. This actually seems like it's going to be something. And I saw the comment right here, Steve. Ravens Steelers Week 16 will be absolutely cinema. And then to go back to watch that episode it's going to be incredible.
It is. I hope it is. I hope it's not like the last several years where you get towards the end of the season and these games don't matter. Like I hope that it actually matters that Ravens Steelers are playing in Week 16.
Yeah, if this is like a in the thick divisional rivalry, divisional race down to the wire, Hard Knocks, Ravens Wired, NFL Films doing their thing, absolute cinema all the way around.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's gonna be. I think they're doing this whole,
especially we didn't talk about like Patrick Queen, like that whole and then Geno Stone, also in the AFC North. Like that's all gonna be
Tyler Huntley and the Browns.
We have to send them. We have to send them Zach's clip of Zach getting upset about the Pittsburgh salads for that Week 16.
Yeah.
Also, Derrick Henry with one of the greatest class.
Yeah, you know what? HBO should hit us up.
Yeah.
HBO should hit us up. We had a whole hour conversation about Pittsburgh food and how terrible it is.
Yeah. That was one of the funniest. Did you see Derrick Henry take a shot at Patrick Queen the other day?
I missed that one.
They asked Derrick Henry what his thoughts are about Baltimore, and he said hadn't had a bad meal yet. That was his response.
Hell yeah.
Just blatantly sending shade at Patrick Queen.
Am I going to draft Derrick Henry in the first round of drafts this year just because?
I've already started mock drafts.
I had a conversation. I went on a show, and they asked me about Derrick Henry's getting taken on like the back turn in the second round of these fantasy drafts. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like in this offense, I mean, that's a whole different conversation. But we will be doing the Ryan Ripken Fantasy League this year, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Also, real quick about the Hard Knocks. I do think this new in-season thing is solely so they can get around the rules that the NFL made for Hard Knocks, because the rules are you can't have a new coach, you can't have made the playoffs in the past 2 seasons, and you can't have been on the Hard Knocks in the last 10 years. Well, all that did was give them really bad teams year after year after year, like you talked about with like the Cardinals and stuff.
It stops being entertaining, right?
Yeah, like, I wasn't tuning in,
right? And that's why, like it's not. I like the reason why the Ravens Hard Knocks was so entertaining was because of Ryan switched
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Was because the reason why the first Ravens Hard Knocks was so exciting was because they sucked kind of the year before, and then they went on to win the Super, or almost went back to back on Super. But anyways, like that's the kind of stuff that was entertaining about Hard Knocks, was you kind of saw the underdog and then actually have put together something. But when it was shitty team after shitty team after shitty team, kind of like lost its luster. So this like division type of content where you're covering the whole division, I think that it's going to do wonders for it. Even if it wasn't AFC North, like if it just ended up being like another division, I think it would have been really, really good for the show.
They literally this year, I just looked up, they had 3 teams eligible for Hard Knocks this year. It was the Bears, the Saints, and the Broncos. So obviously they chose the Bears.
Nobody's going to watch those, right? I mean, maybe you'll watch it for.
They'll watch
for Caleb.
Bears will. They had to choose the Bears because that's the only one with big storylines. I mean, who was going to be like, oh, let me see what the inside workings of the Saints is going to be like,
or the Broncos, right?
Yeah, those are just 2 teams that are sitting. You kind of expect what you're going to get from them. Like
King of Bears, I need this one too.
Yeah,
I would watch that. I watch every single episode.
Hope they don't make the playoffs this year, and Harbaugh doesn't get fired, and they'll be on it.
Yeah, although it is to note, John Harbaugh is very, very, very
very
vocally against.
Yeah, and that was the thing, right? That was the only reason.
I don't think any team wants to do it.
No
one wants to do it.
No one wants to do it.
Well, and so that was the point of saying this is exactly forcing the Ravens to do it, is by making the entire division do it.
Yeah, but you know what though? Like I understand why you wouldn't want to do it. Obviously, the number one reason I'm sure is because of how much of a distraction it is.
Yeah.
But if you are really in tune with what it does for the game, I mean, look at what quarterback did. Look what wide receiver's doing. Look at what Formula One's Drive to Survive, and then what was the other golf one for Netflix?
Full Swing.
Yeah. Like it just brings more awareness to the game and to your sport, which brings in more dollars to your league, which brings everybody more money, and everybody's happy.
Well, and it's true. I guess the hard thing is and maybe it's on the coaching side, like if actually personnel on that sense, where you want to feel like you're keeping things in-house. The player side, specifically the branding for the players.
Yeah, they love it. It's the coaches that do not want the cameras being in all their meetings, all these outs. And it's one thing when it's Ravens media, meaning like the Ravens media that makes all like the Wired and stuff, because that's like they work for the Ravens. But I could see when the NFL sending HBO, they're sending all these camera crews to be recording in your meetings, to be recording. Yeah. There's definitely got to be a sense of like, okay, I don't necessarily like this happening while we're going to try to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but my point is that they're doing it for every other popular sport in the world.
Yeah,
it's just
I think they're all the same. I don't think any major team necessarily would want a documentary. Like there's just a lot of distractions
for sure.
Because even like the quarterback thing, they could only get quarterbacks to do it for 1 year, and then they were like, "No, I'm good." Yeah. No one else wanted to do it.
Yeah, I mean it comes to a point where you try to look at how much of your private life, when it's coming to the specific players part that you're talking about, Brad, with those documentaries, how much do you want your specific private life to be out in the open? Because once it's out, and that barrier is broken. For a lot of professional athletes, they want to be known for what they do on the field, and some want to just keep their private life private. Then there are other people that are in the branding, or they want to get their name out there more, and they're pushing it. Like people didn't like it at the time, but a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster being on TikTok a lot and doing all these things, it can annoy the hell out of you, but he's trying to build a brand, and he wanted to show more of whatever that side of him that he was trying to show. That's an extreme example with that.
Yeah,
but
and
you guys
brand
get my
was
point.
TikTok.
I mean, Drive to Survive, though. I mean, like that changed Formula One in America.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like people became Formula One fans overnight.
Oh, for sure. And like, again, that type of sport, it's unbelievable where it can change everyone's perspective and people were so hooked. I'm with you. I think because maybe that Hard Knocks and everything has been out for years.
Yeah. But
it
this
just
is a
doesn't
different
bring
way
the
that
same pizzazz.
it's a different way that they're doing it though. So that was what I was trying to say with them involving the entire division. I think it could be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be incredible. I just still think that it's like the coaches, like I think the players don't mind it. I think they're like you said, their personal brands.
Yeah.
They have one or two funny clips go off, and all of a sudden everyone's like, "Oh, there's that fan favorite."
Everybody remembers Shannon
Yeah.
Sharp.
Exactly.
Everybody does.
Because him locking or Saragusa locking the guys in the trailer. Like there's so many memorable things that can come from this, but I do think as great as it is, coaches at times are like, oh, why the hell are we doing this?
Yeah. Well, we will see how that happens. We'll get into more Ravens discussions.